Hey, it's Coach Mosley here, East LA College men's basketball coach, also professor of kinesiology here at East LA College. Had the great opportunity of being a men's basketball coach here for 9, going on 10 years now. So excited about where we've come from, but yet and still the needs of our young men coming from specific backgrounds, some of the socioeconomic situations that they come from. A lot of time our young men or young ladies in athletics, we get stereotyped as maybe privileged or maybe entitled, but to be honest, they actually hold this weight of carrying or appearing to be entitled, but they actually have a lot of needs. We have some of our young men, they coming from lower economic families. We have young men that don't eat properly. We're talking about these huge bodies that their nutrition status is not well, and they have this need to be fed, and they burn so many calories even with the workout, and they don't get a decent meal even when they go home. I know it sounds like kind of something that you would say, yeah, sure, right, but really it's true. I'm here and I'm looking at them in the eyes every day. We have issue with books, and we have programs on campus, and sometimes it's hard to get those programs in the right amount of time, and the young men get behind in their academics. Young women get behind in their academics because just the connection, especially with COVID going on right now, the connection across campus to be able to get things done in a timely manner. Some of the students get behind in their academics because just the technology connection now is not as sufficient or not up to where it needs to be so that we can function at a high level. Here's something that's interesting that you may not know. Most of our student athletes, all of our student athletes have to be full-time. But in order to transfer out in 2 years, not like the traditional student has maybe 3-4 years or kind of on their own timeline. They can go part-time a semester or full-time or in the time frame that they want to transfer out. But the student athlete, they have 4 semesters. They have 2 years to get it done, to transfer to be eligible at an NCAA program. So we find our student athletes taking 15 to 18 units. All of our student athletes, along with trying to show up every day and compete and practice 2 to 3 hours a day. And not only that, then we have weekends where they have competition. So we're looking at 6 days a week. We're looking at hours after hours. And some of our students aren't working because of the class load, because of the workload on, the field or the court. So it's tough. It's tough, and I think a lot of times we see them as privileged, and to be honest, they're almost at 2 full-time jobs with a full load academically and this full athletic schedule. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to prepare themselves to get to the next level. But you really see that there's 15 to 18 units. There's no time to work as they have this full load. And some of our student athletes, they're hungry. If they don't have the proper support at home, they come from, majority of them, 80% of them come from single parent homes and on one income with multiple family members in the home. And it's really a tough environment. Our young men struggle with transportation and housing. We have at least half of our young men aren't sleeping properly. We have, I have a 7-footer that's sleeping on a couch at his mom's house with 8 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. So there's lots of needs that these young men have. Just a pair of shoes. A lot of people don't realize that we say, hey, well, just supporting with shoes, basketball shoes. I can't speak for many of the other sports, but basketball shoes, the type of cutting, the contact, the intensity, the soaking of sweat in the shoes. We're looking at sneakers. They wear those out in 2 weeks, and you donate 2 pair of sneakers, and within a month, they're no good. If you're going through a real college basketball season, those shoes can be done in 2 or 3 weeks. And it may seem like they're privileged to ask and say, hey, they need 2, 3, maybe even 4 pairs of shoes throughout a season to even get through. The shoes will tear in 2 or 3 weeks. So just shoes, and to be able to have school supplies, or some can't afford paper. pencils, and just now with the new technology, everything being done online. We're looking at laptops. Half of the guys on my team don't have laptops. They're writing their papers on cell phones. I have to stop them and say, well, we look at our academics and we're saying, how are you doing academically? And we take a look and we say, hey, how come you're struggling here? Well, I did it, the assignment. Well, how did you do it? Well, I did it on my phone. And so we have students that are not just student athletes, but students in general that are doing their work on their phones and don't have appropriate equipment or don't even have Wi-Fi. They have to go down to a Starbucks or some type of coffee shop to do their work, and the environment may be uncomfortable. So there's no space for them to have a safe environment or actually a comfortable environment to do their work. Most of these guys don't have Wi-Fi capabilities at their homes, and so there's tons and tons of needs. Even in most cases, our guys getting transportation and just food, just the simple things that matter that can make a difference. And so we look at the young men or young women, and maybe it feels like they're having a bad day, and their responses to adversity is not what it needs to be. And to be honest, just a few things can change that response if they know that they go through some adversity that day. But if they know that going through that adversity, at least they can go home to a hot meal, that may make a difference. At least if they go through some adversity and have a tough time taking a test or a tough time playing their sports or whatever activity at school, at least if they know they're going home to a bed with clean sheets and they can sleep by themselves and not on the couch, that can change the response. That can help them throughout their lifetime. So these are just a few things. There's a myriad of things. Every student athlete is different. They have their own unique situations. There's some that don't have contact with family members, period. There's some that are dependent, or independent, that have to do it on their own. And it's really a tough scenario for most. I won't say all. There's some that come with great support. They have a two-parent home, and that doesn't mean it's all gravy, but there's some that comes with more support. But the majority of the student athletes we deal with, they don't have the support. And then there's another percentage that deal with not only not having support, not only having resources at home, and don't have the access at school because improper connection, but now you have some student athletes that also deal with mental health issues. So when you combine all that and being a minority or whatever other things you want to attach on to an 18 or a 19-year-old's life for adversity, those are some of the things. But anything that we can do to help to eliminate some of those variables. We all have to deal with a level of adversity. We're not here to hold anybody's hand. We're not here to coddle anybody or provide a crutch, but we want to eliminate some of those adversities to give, our student athletes a better opportunity, and to give just our students a better opportunity. If we can, if any way, any shape, any fashion, anybody has a heart to support. When I look at these students' eyes, every day, I see, regardless of what it may look like on the outside, regardless of how they're dressed, regardless of the response, when I look in the eyes, I see a crying out for help. I see a crying out for need. And so any way, any shape, any fashion, anything you have to offer will help. Nothing's too small, and of course, nothing's too big for the help that we need here at the college.